You are listening to Insurance Untangled podcast, where we explore the various challenges faced by dental practices due to their reliance on insurance. In this podcast, we dive deep into the issues surrounding dental insurance dependence and offer practical solutions and strategies for reducing your reliance on insurance. Join us as we interview industry experts, share success stories, and provide valuable insights to help you take control of your practice's financial future.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. My name is Ben Tuine. I am a co-host of this podcast, and Aaron is taking the day off. And as you can see here, our theme is that sometimes I interview people, sometimes Naren interviews others. But our end goal is to provide insurance-related education to help you untangle the mess of insurance that insurance kind of imposes on us, right? We got to figure out all these things, all these problems that we have to navigate through, and that's sort of the focus of this particular podcast. So today I have my awesome friend and colleague Tessina on with us today. Tessina, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing excellent, thank you. And so for those of you listening, you may have heard Tessina on previous episodes. Check out the Dental Economics July and August edition. And you'll see Tessina featured on the cover page of that episode, of that particular edition, in addition to an article that was written about her and the concept of her skill set with regards to negotiating with insurance. We're not going to talk about negotiating with insurance on this episode. We're going to be talking about denials and how to effectively manage and deal with denied claims in your dental practice. So here we go. So first question for you, Tessina, is why is it important for an office to fight for payment for a buildup when they may only get another $50 in terms of payment, right? So I guess the question is sometimes when you think about it, when you appeal that $50 buildup fee, right, and the payroll hours are $52, right, or $100 to pursue that claim, why is it important for practices to always pursue denied claims, even if it's a small buildup fee, where you might be spending a little bit more in payroll to get that claim paid for?
Yes, definitely. I love this. I get asked this all of the time. I mostly get asked about it by the billers and the managers, and not as often by the dentist. Sometimes the dentists are more like, yeah, let's fight for that payment. Sometimes what we find is when that buildup is denied, that the provider has to write it off. Sometimes it's bundled and you have to just include it in the cost of the crown. So the front office is often saying like, oh, just write that off. And sometimes their argument to the dentist is even like, well, you'd pay me more to fight it than what you'd get paid for it. And then he's like, okay, I kind of see, but like, shouldn't I be getting paid, right? And that's where this all comes in at. The more appeals that you file, the less denials that you get. The more appeals that you file, you get flagged. I've talked about this before. If anybody's listened, I love this topic. Getting flagged by an insurance company. You can either be flagged as an office that gets bullied and pushed around and gets lots of denials, or you can get flagged as an office that is known as a whistleblower and an office that they don't want to mess with. It starts with those appeals. There's further processes that we would take it into as far as if those appeals are denied, then you want to file a complaint with the insurance commissioner. But the reason we fight the fight for the $50 is for the long-term efforts of not having any more of those denials.
Mm-hmm. That's an awesome way to say it. And that's exactly what I've been thinking too, is that, even if you're only going to get paid $50, but you're going to invest $100 to get paid that $50, you're playing the long-term game, right?
Yes.
You are preventing that extra $100 payroll hour for future denied claims on that particular issue, right? So we cannot limit ourselves and saying, well, I might have to pay a lot more to get that claim appealed. But you want to fight it. You want to be a whistleblower. You want to go and pursue it to prevent future issues from happening from that same insurance plan. So next question I have for you, Tessina, is why should we send complaints to the insurance commissioner if our appeals are denied? And now one thing I'll mention to the listeners is if you go to Dental Economics and you look, you either my name, Ben Tuine, or Benjamin Tuine, or Tessina, you'll find previous articles from several years ago about Tessina's story in terms of how she fought our local state insurance commissioner and how that has sort of created a massive effort among many dental practices to do the same thing. So check those articles out. But we're going to go back to the question here, Tessina, is why should we send complaints to the insurance commissioner, and why is that effective in involving the insurance commissioner with denied claims?
Yes, so a lot of offices don't even know that there is an insurance commissioner, or who they are, or what they do. So for one, I like to educate on that. Who is the insurance commissioner? They are the ones in charge of policing the insurance company. There are laws that the insurance company has to abide by. And when you appeal with them, or when you talk to them, anybody who's listening knows that they just say, this is how we do it. This is the contract. These are the rules. These are the rights. And I remember being like, well, says who, like says you, the guy who doesn't want to make the payment? Like, of course you're going to say that's the rule. There's always another side to it. If they have rights and rules, so do we. And who can enforce that? Who can put them in charge of that? Not me, not little old me. I can't do anything. They're much bigger than I am. The insurance commissioner has the ability to tell them that they can't practice in that state anymore. That's a huge loss for that insurance company. Even if they are nationwide, they don't want to lose an entire state. So they tend to want to please the insurance commissioner's office quite a bit. They want to play ball. They want to make sure they're not in trouble for processing anything illegally, because they don't want to get kicked out of that state. Before they even get kicked out of the state, they can also get fines and warnings. They don't want those either, right? That costs them money. So they can continue to do all of these things and continue to illegally process claims as long as the insurance commissioner doesn't catch wind of what they're doing and tell them to pay a fine or knock it off. So that's why we go back to offices being flagged. They flag you so that they can continue to bully everybody else and back off of you, so you don't notify them to the people they don't want to be notified to. So if you have that denial, you appeal it, and then if that appeal is denied, what do you do then? File a complaint with the insurance commissioner.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So this is sort of the whistleblower effect, right?
Yes.
And you're sort of you're reporting the insurance company on the regulatory body, the government regulatory body that can actually make a difference for you. So on this particular thing, I want to invite listeners to pick Tessina's brain. Because what I'm seeing across the country is that a lot of times practices give up on claims appeals after the second or third denial. They just give up. They just move on to other things. But the one thing that you have to remember is that may be $400 or $200 or $50, but it adds up. The 1,500 denied claims for a single year could amount to $200,000 to $300,000 or more, right? So we have to pay attention to those things. So thank you for your tips there, Tessina. So next question I have for you is that when offices are sending appeals and filing complaints, are these all paid? Like when offices engage in that, are they getting 100% returns in terms of 100% success rate of getting those appeals claimed, appeals paid for? But if not, then why fight why spend that money to fight an insurance company if you're not batting at 100%?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess I get asked that a lot, or I have offices that I have taught and trained, like, hey, go do that appeal. And sometimes those appeals or the complaints with the insurance commissioner don't get paid. I'll tell you right now, honestly, not 100% of them are going to get paid. It's not going to be every single one you get is going to work. I would say probably 90%. I would say a lot of them get covered and paid. We usually do find that the insurance company was violating something and they do have to make a compensation to you. Insurance companies are becoming more and more knowledgeable and finding more and more legal loopholes to get out of this. But in the meantime, for now, you want to be finding those 90% of them get paid. That's a really good return, right? That if for those ones that aren't, what I mentioned with the insurance commissioner that is tracking them, that has the ability to punish them or tell them to go out of state or apply these fines, they can only do that if they know the trends. So they are watching the trends of all the different complaints that are coming in from offices. If they don't find a trend, if they're only getting 1 out of 500 offices that complains for a buildup being denied, they don't really see a trend. They don't see a need to go after that. And then the insurance company pays that buildup, says, oh, sorry, that was a mistake on our end. It was a glitch. We've got it paid. And so the insurance commissioner says, okay, there's not a problem here. There was a glitch. They got it paid. There's no reason to go after this insurance company. So we have to have a different mindset of where we are reporting a lot of things to the insurance commissioner, and a lot of offices are doing it. They've been getting this in medical for a really long time, but dental offices still are not aware of this tool and are not using it. So the insurance commissioner is not aware of a lot of the things that are going on. So even if you don't get it paid, you still want to run that complaint over to them and pose the question to them. Are you seeing this in a lot of other offices? Have you been seeing this happen? What is being done about this trend with this insurance company? And that will perk up the commissioner to say, yeah, we have, and let's take a look at that.
That's amazing. That kind of inspired me to think about creating a tool, or at least an educational resource, to steer practices to their insurance commissioner's website and instructions on how to file a complaint on behalf of a patient, right? So perhaps I'm going to make a note of that, and we can start gathering those resources to post on all of our websites. But I kind of feel like your exploration and discovery in this whole insurance commissioner appeal process has been tremendously helpful for the industry. So thank you for sharing that, Tess, and I really appreciate that. So listeners, as of today, if you go to verusdental.com, that's VERUS dental.com. That's Tessina's website for her insurance verification company. Call her crazy, but she only charges $15 an hour for insurance verification services, and it's a give back to the dental community. Of course, she doesn't do all of that herself. She has team members that can deliver on that, and a model of efficiency where you're truly paying a $15 an hour rate. But as of today, you'll see that Tessina has been added to veritasdentalresources.com as a chief insurance analyst, an executive position in terms of being sort of the resident insurance expert for Veritas Dental Resources. So you can see both of those resources and websites in the show notes. But get a hold of Tessina if you have questions. As you can see here, she's a wealth of knowledge as it pertains to all things insurance. But what I will say is that when it comes to appealing denied claims, she's probably among the best of the best in the industry. So give her some love, spend some money with her. Tessina, any closing thoughts as we wrap up today's episode?
No, the only thing I could think of is if you are sitting there wondering, how do I find my insurance commissioner? You can just do a quick Google search and it'll tell you who your insurance commissioner is, and usually give you some instructions there for how to file. So yeah, take a look into it or reach out to me and I can help anytime. That's
excellent. So if you're in New York, just put New York State Insurance Commissioner. And a lot of times, if you plug that into Google search, on the first page, one of the first things that you'll see is the insurance commissioner's website. But in the subnotes, you'll see a section that says "File a complaint," and I'm assuming that's what you want to click on, right, Tessina?
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. Thank you for all the tips, Tessina. Truly appreciate the knowledge and the value of the information that you shared. So for our listeners, thank you for joining us again on another amazing episode of the Insurance Entangled podcast. Check out insuranceentangled.com for upcoming episodes, as well as upcoming webinars and other resources, gifts and perks, and our give back to the dental community. Appreciate you joining us today. Until we meet again, have a wonderful day.